Peppa Pig's cast is full of interesting characters, but did you know that some of them were simply deleted? The Queen. The Queen was a character who drew a lot of attention for being one of the few humans who appear in the show, and mainly for being clearly inspired by Elizabeth II, the Queen of the United Kingdom. Even so, she never appeared again after 2022, and the reason is pretty dark. That was the year Elizabeth II, the real one, passed away. After that happened, the Queen from the show never appeared again. And it wasn't just to avoid reminding British children about what happened to the real monarch. In a game called Peppa Pig World Adventures, there is a tribute to Elizabeth II showing Peppa jumping in a muddy puddle beside the Queen from the cartoon. The same homage was posted on an official social media account of the show. In other words, the show clearly considers that Peppa Pig's Queen is, in fact, Elizabeth II. Or better, was, because if these tributes exist and the Queen never appeared again, it means she died together with her real-life counterpart. She's only the first of the 13 characters you didn't know were deleted from Peppa Pig.
That's right, another Cinewave is coming for you to enjoy.
Daddy Sheep. Susie Sheep may be one of the most popular characters in the show, but even so, we never had the chance to see her father, which leads us to believe that he was also deleted, even before he ever had the opportunity to appear. It's hard to believe the creators never thought about giving Susie a father, but it's easy to imagine them deciding to remove him after creating him. During the development of an animated series, all kinds of ideas get thrown onto paper. So many characters are created and later discarded for not matching the final version of the show. That may have been the case with Daddy Sheep, who was removed to bring representation to families where the mother raises the children alone. Maybe Susie's father passed away, or maybe he divorced her mother. Either way, he was certainly excluded from the show.
Older sister.
Peppa is known as the oldest daughter in the pig family, but what if we told you that maybe she wasn't supposed to be? It's very possible that the original plan was for her to have an older sister, something that was later discarded as we can clearly notice. Just look at how old Daddy Pig and Mummy Pig seem to be. They're clearly in their 30s, while their oldest daughter is only 4. That means there's a long stretch of time when they were together without having kids. Could it be that they simply preferred to focus on other things before diving into parenthood? Sure, but it could also be that the idea was that they had already had a daughter years before Peppa was born. Mr. Gazelle. Another relative that few people know exists, or existed, is Mr. Gazelle, Madame Gazelle's husband. We can see a picture of this character in a frame inside her house, showing that he was a very classy gentleman. And yes, the picture is in black and white, which means it's something very old. Before you say it would make more sense for him to be Madame Gazelle's father or grandfather, remember that she's extremely old and doesn't seem to age at all. She was Daddy Pig's and Mummy Pig's teacher when they were little kids, and she looked exactly like she does today. And the theory that she's a vampire is very well known, since she doesn't even have a reflection in mirrors. So yes, Madame Gazelle could absolutely have had a husband in the past. The fact that his picture has no color already explains why he's not around anymore. The poor guy likely passed away many years ago, probably from old age. Daddy Pig's parents. We all love Grandpa Pig and Granny Pig, Mummy Pig's parents. But have you noticed that Peppa should have 2 more grandparents? We're talking about Daddy Pig's parents, who never appeared or were even mentioned in the entire show. It's very hard to believe that the creators never considered adding Daddy Pig's parents to the show, but the fact they never showed up might indicate the creators decided to cut them out entirely. Why? Since Peppa Pig is a show aimed at very young children, they may have felt that having too many grandparents could confuse the little ones. Even though Bluey, which also targets very young kids, proved that it is possible to show both paternal and maternal grandparents without confusing the audience. So, will the show ever change its mind and reveal Daddy Pig's parents? If you'd love to see any of these deleted characters appearing in Peppa Pig someday, comment down below #deleted so we can know.
Chloe Cow. Miss Cow and Mr. Bull make an amazing couple.
But what if we told you they were supposed to have a daughter? Chloe Cow appeared a few times as a background character in the show. She was created with the idea of being Miss Cow's daughter, but since she never had a major appearance, it's a mystery whether we can even consider her truly the daughter of Mummy Pig's friend, especially because the character simply vanished after a few appearances. She doesn't even show up at Mrs. Cow's wedding, which is really strange. She would theoretically be the result of some previous relationship Mrs. Cow had, so it's odd that she isn't at the new wedding to meet her stepfather. Penny Pony. Did you know that Pedro Pony was originally supposed to be a girl? A character named named Penny was planned to be the pony who would join Peppa's friend group, but she ended up being replaced by Pedro. She even appears in Peppa Pig's concept video made before the show officially started production, created to present the idea of what the cartoon would look like. What's curious is that, despite that, the female version of Pedro still appeared in some episodes of the show, but only as a simple background extra with way less importance. So she's a case of a character who was deleted and later brought back, but not in the same way as before. Could she be related to Pedro, or is she from another pony family? The Tooth Fairy. Something many people forget is that Peppa Pig does include magic and supernatural things. One example is the Tooth Fairy, who only appeared in one episode, when Peppa lost a tooth and is visited by the mystical creature. What's interesting is that she has Peppa's same appearance, just much smaller and with wings. Unfortunately, the Tooth Fairy never appeared again after that, ending up stored away in the drawer of deleted characters. Who knows, maybe she'll be brought back someday. It would be amazing to see her meet Santa Claus, for example. Aunt Dottie. Even though we love talking about Aunt Dottie, the truth is that she was a deleted character for a very long time. The first time she was mentioned was in the episode Horsey Twinkletoes, back in 2011. In that episode, Peppa and George receive a gift sent by Dottie. It even seemed like the show was getting ready to introduce her with a real appearance, but then, nothing. She simply never showed up. At least until the Thanksgiving episode came along, where Dottie finally visits her relatives. But here's the thing, that episode was released in 2024, more than a decade later. It seemed like they had planned to introduce her, but then gave up and left her in the drawer all those years, before finally deciding to use her.
King Alfonso. King Alfonso is a very curious case of a deleted character because his short career on Peppa Pig is honestly ridiculous. He appeared in the episode Long Train Journey, revealing himself to be a king. Now, what kingdom is he king of? Only God knows. In that episode, there's a joke where Alfonso has his food order denied while Daddy Pig gets his, suggesting that Peppa's dad is more important than this supposed king. That was the character's most memorable moment, and his only one. That's right, he never appeared in any other episode. The guy was humiliated by Daddy Pig, walked away, and never came back.
Subscribing is quick, easy, and keeps you updated with everything happening here. Let's go?
Paul Pony. There's another deleted character connected to Pedro Pony, and that's his brother. Didn't know he had a brother? That's okay, because this was only ever mentioned in an illustrated Peppa Pig book, where we find out he has this younger brother named Paul, who loves jumping on trampolines. The boy appeared only twice in the show, and only as a background extra. You can't even tell he's Pedro's brother based on those moments alone. In fact, no one is really sure if we should even consider the information from the book, because it truly feels like Paul was reduced to just a random extra. Ginger. We all know Peppa has her pet fish, Little Goldie, but Miss Rabbit also has a fish. His name is Ginger, and he appeared in the episode The Aquarium, where he becomes friends with Goldie, which is really adorable, and for our disappointment, that was his first and last appearance. Well, kind of, because a fish identical to Ginger shows up again in the episode A Day with Dr. Hamster, except it makes absolutely no sense for it to be Ginger, since the fish is being carried by Mr. Bull. That would only make sense if Mr. Bull were taking Miss Rabbit's pet to the vet as a favor, or if Miss Rabbit had given the little fish to Mr. Bull. Paris Extra. Remember the episode where the pig family travels to Paris? A background extra was created specifically to appear in that episode, and even then, he was simply deleted from it. He doesn't even have a name, he's only known as the Paris Extra. The poor guy had one mission and failed miserably. Some people believe he was excluded because of his odd design, but you know what's the funniest part? In the end, he actually did appear in the show, just in a different episode. In a scene from The Carnival, we see the Paris Extra in the middle of a big crowd. At least he got his redemption, right? I mean, he never appeared in any other episode again, but it's nice to know he really is a real character in the series for at least a few seconds.
Before you go, take a look at the two videos on the screen. Thanks for watching, and see you next time!